Shalom, Brother Avery, Royals in Christ Church. First and foremost, all praise to the Most High, Yahweh, B'Shem HaMashiach, Yahushua. And today's lesson, I titled this, Ready or Not. Okay, why do I call it Ready or Not? Because prophecy is coming to pass like never before. Okay, a lot of us Israelites have been making videos. We've been out on the street corners, warning, prophesying, preaching this word to a lot of people for a long time now, warning them of what's to come. A lot of the things you're starting to see in manifold and take place within the earth. Okay, a lot of your politicians, the president, world leaders are talking about the famine, shortage of food to come. Okay, global warming, climate change is what the word they're using. Okay, the Most High bringing storms, wrath, destruction, pestilence, disease all over the earth. The earth is changing as we know it, day by day. Prophecies are coming to pass faster than ever before. But yet, there's a large percentage of our people who refuse to hearken. You know, it's like they want to put their head in the sand, act like it's going to all go away. They're going to wake up one morning, everything is going to be back to normal like it was post 2020. And no, prophecy is coming to pass. Ready or not, like it or not, here it comes. Everything that you read within this Bible will come to fruition. It's happening now. It's just whether you want to reject the message or whether you want to get on board. Okay, a lot of people just too stubborn, proud. They don't want to humble themselves down. Some of them just got the spirit, like it says in St. John 8:44, you of your father the devil. A lot of people just don't have the spirit or the ears, the spiritual ears to hear the truth. They just flat out don't care, reject it. But this ministry, this channel is for the ones the Lord told us to go out, search for my sheep. Okay, he that has an ear to hear, let him hear. Okay, the person or people or whoever it is out there that's meant to hear and receive it, this is who this is for. Okay, let's go to Isaiah chapter 47, verses 10 and 11.
It's the book of Isaiah chapter 47, verses 10. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. And thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me.
Okay, this is the man who trusts in himself, his own devices, his own mind. Okay, the Bible clearly tells us in the Proverbs, trust not in our own understanding, but acknowledge the Lord in all your ways, he'll direct your path. This is the person you can't tell nothing. You show them the precepts, you show them everything within this Bible, they just reject it. Flat out reject it. They got their own mentality, their own excuses. They want to hold fast to the ways of this world. Continue.
Verse 11, therefore shall evil come upon thee. Thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee. Thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly. Suddenly,
desolation shall come upon me. Come on.
Which thou shalt not know in.
Okay, but suddenly, that's why I titled it Ready or Not. Because you didn't want the ways of the Lord, when you least expect it, suddenly, all of this is going to take these people by storm. The economy, the dollar is about to collapse. Ready or not. The money that you have in the bank, all your stocks, 401k, your pension plans, your assets, all of that's about to mean nothing. Dollar's about to go. They're about to implement that mark of the beast. Okay, so ready or not, here it comes. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 30. I want verses 12 and 13.
It's the book of Isaiah chapter 30, verse 12. Wherefore there said the Holy One of Israel, because he despised this word, and trust in oppression, and in perverseness, and stay thereon.
Because you didn't want to listen to the words of the Lord, but you trust in your own way, perverseness, Esau's philosophies, the way of this world, education, science. Come on.
Verse 13. Therefore this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking coming suddenly at an instant.
Suddenly, again, like a breach, a high wall is broken, about to crumble. It's going to all fall down at once, suddenly, when you least expect it. All right, let's go to 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. Let's get verses 2 through 4. This is for the person who did not put the Lord, they trust in the Lord. The prophet has been written the whole time. See, that's one thing that's so precious about this truth. For those of us who've chosen, who the Lord chose to give the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of his word as it is written, it's like knowing the future. Okay, people go to psychics and fortune tellers, and they spend all this money on foolishness, the things that the Lord don't tell you to do, just so they can get some type of insight, head start, some type of advantage over their future, their life. When the whole time the Lord laid everything out right here. Okay, but they refused to listen to the men of the Lord. Let's get that.
1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 2. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction.
Sudden destruction. As soon as they say peace and safety, this is what your false prophets in these churches, this is what your news media is still trying to tell you. You see the whole world falling apart before your eyes, but yet they still sending you messages of peace. Oh, everything's going to be all right. It'll go back to normal. This will blow away. This is right. No, it's not. Not according to the Bible. This is what it's saying. Continue.
Then sudden destruction cometh upon them.
Sudden destruction. Come on.
As travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. But ye, brother, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief.
But those of us in the truth, in the know, understand the prophecies of this word, that day is not going to overtake us as on his word. Why? Because we're expecting it. We're waiting for it. Okay, so it's not going to catch us off guard. Why? Because we've been hearkening to what thus says the Lord. Let's get Ecclesiastes chapter 9 in the Bible. In your Bible.
Ecclesiastes.
Ecclesiastes chapter 9 verse 12. It's all about being aware, in tune to what the Lord said, and that's the way the Lord set things up. For those who don't care about his word and disregard it, reject it, it's intended to catch you with your pants down. It's intended to catch you slipping. Okay, that's the way he set it up. Okay, those who patiently wait on the Lord, trying their best to follow the Bible, studying these prophecies, you at least got an advantage or a heads up. Just like in war, they tell you one of the biggest advantages of war is the element of surprise. Whatever person is able to surprise the enemy, you automatically have an advantage. If you bracing for something, you expecting it is never as bad.
Right.
Okay, so let's get there.
Ecclesiastes.
Chapter 9, verse 12.
It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9, verse 12. For man also knoweth not his time, as the fishes that are taken in an evil net, and as the birds that are caught in the snare. So are the sons of men snared in an evil time, when it falleth suddenly upon them.
See that? When it falleth suddenly again upon them. This is how this thing is about to come. Okay, just like you fishing or whatever, you catching a fish, never knew he was about to be snared in the net. Or a hunter, you never know, the prey never know it was about to be taken. This is what's about to come up on the world. A lot of people about to be taken by surprise. Okay, they've been hearing the message, go through one ear out the other, disregard it, and say, oh man, them niggas don't know what they talking about. That's just a false prophet, laughing, cult this. They've been trying to warn you the whole time. Okay, so it's about to catch a lot of people suddenly, by surprise. Okay, just like the fish that's caught and snared in the net. This thing is about this dollar gonna collapse. They're gonna wake up one morning, these stores shut down, crying, starving, looking for food. I gotta eat, my kids got it. Running around doing things you thought you would never have to do to try to eat a piece of bread. This is about to happen real soon. Okay? Did you finish that up, verse 4? I'm sorry, 12. That was the end of 12? Okay, let's get Sirach. We're going in Apocrypha now. I want Sirach chapter 5. And we're going to read verse 7.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 5, verse 7. Make no tarrying to turn to the Lord, and put not off from day to day.
Don't wait. Stop procrastinating. Stop making excuses. Oh, I'll come when I'm ready, this and that. Make no tarrying to come to the Lord. If you're hearing this message, it's for you. Okay, stop wasting time. Repent now. Come on.
For suddenly shall the wrath of the Lord come forth.
For suddenly, there you go again. Suddenly, the wrath of the Lord come forth. Come on.
And in thy security thou shalt be destroyed, and perish in the day of vengeance.
Okay, notice it says, in thy security thou shalt be destroyed. As soon as you think everything is all good, okay, you finally got what you've been looking for your whole life. It's the way the Lord do it. Some of us work, toil, labor our whole life, okay? Finally got that spouse, finally got that house, finally got the job you want. Now you content, you happy, you thinking you made it. Okay, no, but you never found the Lord. This is what it's saying. You never found the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right? And suddenly, they shall be caught in their destruction. This is what it's saying. Let's get 2nd Ezra, stand in Apocryphal, 2nd Ezra chapter 6, and I want verse 22.
It's the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, verse 22.
Come on.
And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown.
Suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. That's your supermarkets, that's your stores. Suddenly, you're going to wake up one morning, there's not going to be any food. And come on.
The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty.
See that? The storehouses suddenly shall be found empty. You see it is happening now. That's what means ears to hear but can't hear, eyes to see. You can turn on the news, they're not even hiding it from you no more.
Presidents.
Okay, the president came out and said that we're about to face a real famine in this land. Okay, I know it's still what they say, home of the free, land of the proud, all of this, America, the great. You don't think it can happen, but this goes back to trusting in man. They never thought the Titanic could sink either. They call it an unsinkable ship. But look, it said somewhere at the bottom of the ocean. This is what it's showing you. Suddenly, one day you'll wake up, it's not going to be any food in the stores. Come on.
And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man hear it.
The trumpet is the teachers of the Lord, the men of the Lord that are screaming this word at you. Okay, the trumpet shall give a sound. Come on.
Which when even every man hear it, they shall be suddenly afraid.
Suddenly afraid. Why? They don't want to accept the message. Okay, the message is coming out, but they refuse to accept it. That's the end of 22?
That's the end of 23. So.
Okay, that's good. Let's get Jeremiah chapter 51. Jeremiah 51, I want verse 8.
It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51, verse 8. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed.
Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. You least expect it, she's fallen, aka America. She's suddenly fallen and destroyed. Come on.
Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so be she may be healed. Want to continue?
No, that's all I want. I just want that suddenly. Babylon is suddenly falling. To show you, this is how this thing is going to happen. A lot of people, when this dollar collapse, okay, they're going to rush to the bank. Same way it looks in a storm. Hurricane Harvey or Katrina or whatever, you see cars backed up on the freeway. Everybody at the last minute trying to scramble and get somewhere. Ain't going to be able to go nowhere. Fights going to be breaking out all on the side of the road. People robbing, going crazy. You're going to try to make it to a bank just to finally get up there. What? You cannot withdraw anything out of the bank because there's no money. Completely fall and collapse. Call everybody you know at this point in time. Communication probably not going to work. They're going to cut all of that. Your phones, your internet, your cable. It's going to be complete hell and anarchy. All right? That you cannot imagine. Stuff out of the, you think of a horror movie at this time. A sci-fi horror movie. People next to you dropping dead, killing each other for food because they know it didn't hit the fan now. No police. You can't call for help. Women getting raped. All of this is written and prophesied. All right? Let's get Mark. St. Mark chapter 13.
It's the book of Mark.
Verse 34 through 36.
Chapter 13, verse 34. For the Son of Man is as a man taking a far journey, who left his house, and gave authority to his servants, and to every man his work, and commanded the porter to watch. Okay, this Son of Man is talking about is Yahweh Shah. The Christ. He went on a far journey and he gave us instructions. Come on. Verse 35. Watch ye therefore, for ye know not when the master of the house cometh, at even, or at midnight, or at the cock crowing, or in the morning. Verse 36. Lest coming suddenly he find you sleeping. See that? You don't know when he returned. Lest suddenly the master come back and he find you sleeping. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You weren't doing the job that he commanded you to do before he left. All right? And this is what's going to happen to a lot of people. They're going to suddenly be taken by this economic, this dollar crash. They're going to suddenly be taken by this famine, this food shortage. Everything that we read, even when the return of the Messiah, they're going to suddenly be taken unaware. This time you got more atheists than ever. Oh, it ain't no God. It ain't no this. It ain't no that. Okay? When they least expect it. This is what we read. Ready or not? Let's get Luke. St. Luke 21. I'm sorry, Matthew. Matthew 24. Verse 37 to 39. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 37. But as the days of Noah, where so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage.
Okay, so before the Lord returned, it's going to be just like it was in the days of Noah. The days of Noah was wild and crazy. Nobody believed. Okay, they were eating and drinking and continuing their marriage. In other words, just saying they were going on about their lives, what they had planned. Everything was about them. They wasn't worried about thus says the Lord. They weren't worried about nothing spiritual that the Lord had said. They were all just caught up with their own self. Come on.
Until the day that Noah entered into the ark, verse 39, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
See that? No one was expecting. They was disregarding everything the Lord said, but they were going on about their own lives until the flood. The flood represents that destruction. When the flood comes, whether it's the dollar collapse, UN troops going door to door, the mark of the beast, you name it. Okay, it's going to catch a lot of people unaware. Then when it happens, that's when you got everybody want to scramble at the last minute. That's when you got everybody want to fall on their knees and cry out, oh Lord, oh gee, it's too late. This is what we're showing you. Why you still have a chance to hearken to this word. You still have a chance to repent. You still have a chance to seek the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You still have a chance to come back to his laws, statutes, and commandments. Okay, because these are the only people during this time that's going to have a hedge of protection. This is why this is so serious. Okay, but the same way it was before the flood of Noah, it's the same way it's going to be before the return of Yahushua. All right, let's go to St. Luke 21. St. Luke 21, 34, 35.
Book of St. Luke, chapter 21, verse 34. And take heed to yourselves, lest at any time your hearts be overcharged with subtlety and drunkenness and cares of this life.
Don't get so caught up in this all on your own distractions is what it's saying. You didn't put aside the words of the Lord. You ain't caring about nothing that the Lord have to say, but you chasing your own dreams. Whether it be on the jobs, your businesses, you caught up in a relationship, just distracted in the most critical hour of prophecy. Come on.
And so that day come upon you unawares.
See that? It comes upon you unawares. Suddenly. You wasn't expecting it. Come on.
Verse 35. For as a snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth.
A snare, a trap. Suddenly. It's going to come like a snare on everybody upon the face of the earth. Come on.
Watch ye therefore and pray always, that he may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and to stand before the Son of Man.
All right, let's get Zephaniah. Book of Zephaniah, chapter 1. We're going to read verses 10 and 11.
Book of Zephaniah, chapter 1, verse 10. And it shall come to pass in that day.
It shall come to pass, meaning future. This is what's about to happen. Come on.
Saith the Lord, that there shall be the noise of a cry from the fish gate, and an howling from the second, and a great rashing from the hills. How, ye inhabitants of the Maktesh, for all the merchant of the people are cut down.
Read that again. Start at verse 1.
Chapter 1, verse 10.
The same thing you read. Just start at the top of what you read.
Chapter 1, Zephaniah, chapter 1, verse 10. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord, that there shall be the noise of a cry from the fish gate, and an howling from the second.
Okay, that noise from the fish gate and the howling for the second, that's what that's talking about. Economic collapse. This is when everything shuts down and crashes. This is the panic. This is the howling. Come on.
And a great irashing from the hills. Verse 11. How, ye inhabitants of Maktesh, for all the merchant people are cut down.
See that? All the merchants, all the buyers, all the sellers, all the big businesses, all falling. It's cut down. Come on.
All they that bear silver are cut off.
All the money is cut off. That's what it's talking about. That's the silver. And this money, everything is cut off. It is completely crashed. All right, that's the end of 11.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get Ecclesiastes in the Bible again. Chapter 12. Anytime you bracing for something that you expecting, it's always easy. You've been preparing yourself spiritually, mentally for what's about to take place, keeping and serving the Lord the best you can, okay? He has your back. opposed to those at the last. You disregarded this whole thing, didn't care less about the God of Israel, care less about his laws and commandments, and then when your hell come all of a sudden, you cry out and think, no, Lord does not work like that. All right, let's get
Ecclesiastes chapter 12.
Go ahead. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 3 and 4.
There's a book of Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 3. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and in the day the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few. And
same thing. This is talking about economic collapse. When the grinders cease, this is your workers, because it's few. You see this happening now. Every place you go, they have a hire sign. Everybody, worker shortage, food shortage. Everything is a shortage now. Come on.
And look out of the windows, be darkened. Verse 4. And the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low.
See that? Doors shut in the street. That's your businesses when the sound of the grinding is low. Sound of the grinding is your workers. There's no work. Come on.
And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low.
The voice of the bird, he shall rise up. That's the alarm clocks, okay? That's the rooster waking up. The day is started. Time to go off of work. But the doors of the grinders are shut. There's no works to go to. Everything has collapsed at this point. This is what we're talking about. All right, that's it on that?
That's in 4.
Okay, let's get Ezekiel. Ezekiel chapter 7. Going to the book of Ezekiel chapter 7, and we're going to read verse 19.
It's the book of Ezekiel chapter 7, verse 19. They shall cast their silver in the streets. They
shall throw their money in the streets. It's not going to be any good at this point, what's about to take place. Your dollar. In fact, there's places, over 200 countries has already ditched the American dollar. Go look it up. Over 200 countries. Okay, your biggest ones, of course, are Russia. Okay, they already did. Everybody they deal with, you can only buy oil in the Russian ruble now. China's on board. Countries in the Middle East have done it. Okay, the dollar is finished. This is what we're reading about. People's doing this now. This video of people burning money. Okay, hundreds of dollars. There's a video I've seen somebody burning millions of dollars because they know it's over with. Come on.
They shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Lord. Thou shalt not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels.
That's all I want on that. But that money is nothing that silver or that gold, nothing that their money can do for them anymore at this point. Okay, it's falling. And this is what the Lord meant when he said, I will not give my glory to another. Okay, because up until this point, the whole world, it's a philosophy, okay, well, God is money. That's Esau God. That's the God of the nations. That's why he said in Matthew 6:33, okay, seek ye first the kingdom and his righteousness. And then the Lord add all these things to you. For the other things, this is what the nations or the Gentiles worship. They worship money and gold and things like that. As children of Israel, we're supposed to follow the words of our Lord. See, what happens when the God you worship money falls? All of this is about to be stripped away. Look, if that's what you base your foundation on, what they tell you, you have nothing left. You have nothing else to live for. Because your life consisted of your job, your money, your car. And while all that's taken away, what's left? This is what we're showing. All right, so from there, we're going to, go back to our apocryphal, 2nd Ezra chapter 15. We're going to 2nd Ezra chapter 15, and I want verse 19.
The book of 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword.
Okay, so you got people, they're not going to care about that neighbor, their fellow man or woman. They're going to be going door to door, killing with the sword. Sword is talking about guns, a weapon. Come on.
And spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation.
Because of the lack of what?
For the lack of bread and great tribulation.
Because there's no food. People looking for food. People starving. So they're going door to door, killing, robbing, stealing, doing whatever they have to do to feed themselves and their family. Because of the lack of bread and great tribulation. A lot of people are clueless about this is the time we in. Okay, they still rocking them to sleep in these Christian churches, singing these nice messages with a smile on their face like nothing is about to happen. Whole time the men of the Lord, the ones you mark and hate calling a cult, been trying to warn you for years. Some of us, we've been saying this for over 10 years now. I'm telling you, one ear out the other. All right, let's go to, let's get Revelations. Revelation chapter 6, a couple more, we wrap it up. Revelation chapter 6, I want 5 through 8.
The book of Revelation, chapter 6, verse 5. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, Come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. Okay,
this is, I believe with everything in me, I don't know 100%, but I truly personally believe this is the seal we in now, the third seal. Okay, but notice what it said, a black horse that had a pair of balances in his hand. Those balances talking about judgment. Okay, judgment. Continue.
And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Verse 7. And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, Come and see. Verse 8. And I looked, and behold a pale horse, and his name that sat up on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death.
Okay, and so the pale horse was death. So between this third and fourth seal, this is why I personally believe we had right now. The pale horse represented death, and it was given to him to kill how much over the earth?
And it was with the beasts of the earth. I'm sorry, let me go back. And I looked and beheld a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with the sword. So the fourth part of the earth.
A fourth part of the earth. That's a lot of people that's going to be killed and caught up with this thing. What was right after that? What's the part about the famine?
To kill with sword and with hunger.
To kill with sword and with hunger. Okay, the sword is war, weapons, and with hunger, that's no food. That's the same exact precept we read over here in 2 Ezra 15:19 when it said, man will not regard their neighbor, but they should go door to door spoiling and killing with the sword because of famine and great tribulation. Lack of bread. It's all precepted. Okay, so I believe with everything in me, these are the seals that we're facing right now. So while the whole world is distracted with Will Smith and Jada and TikTok challenges and their own little personal life, like you said, before the days they were married and giving away in marriage and whatever you got going on in your own personal life. While all this is going on, this is what's really going on. This is what it's talking about. A fourth part of the earth killed through sword and with hunger. That's a lot of people that's about to be starving to death. You already see what they're burning down, these food factories. They literally setting them on fire, burn them down. You got Bill Gates who buying up what, over half of the farms, all the farmland in Texas, I think. He's buying up. What is he buying this farmland up for? It's not to feed the people, to keep people from feeding themselves.
You have to go to lunch.
Okay, so this is, whether you like it or not, that's why I titled it Ready or Not. This is coming. This problem not only coming, it's here. All right, so this is what they're doing. They're getting in a position where you have to depend on them for everything. You have to depend on your government for the food. You have to, kind of similar to what they did with COVID. You don't take the shot, you can't work here. You don't take the shot, they're just going to step it up another level. The next is going to be the actual chip, the mark of the beast. You don't get this, you don't eat, you don't drink. You want this, you have to receive this chip. Come to us for it. We have to give it to you. We have to feed you. Okay, this is the time we're coming into. Let's get 2nd Ezra back in our Apocrypha. 2nd is Ezra chapter 16. And I want verse 18.
It's the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, verse 18. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings.
The beginning of sorrow and great mournings. Come on.
The beginning of famine and great death.
The beginning of famine. There go again. No food and great what?
Death.
Great death. All of this precept, the same precepts we just saw. A lot of starvation coming, a lot of death is on the way. Come on.
The beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish.
There go again. Behold, famine and plague, famine, no food, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish, come on.
Are sent as scourges for amendment.
Scourges for amendment, judgment. Once again, this is the Most High judging the earth. Okay, starts, it tells you, I think it's 1 Peter 4:17, judgment starts at the house of Israel. Who's going to get caught up in this famine the most? Our people. Why? Because we are at the bottom of the economic system. We the least that is prepared. You got the other nation, Esau been preparing for this for years.
Shows.
Okay, go back and look at them old shows. Yeah, preppers, thank you. Go back and look at preppers. That was 20 years ago. Preppers. Now you know what they was prepping for.
There you go.
Okay, a lot of your celebrities, government officials, they already went underground. They underground. They got underground bunkers with food and water to supply them for years. Okay, so while the whole time we've been what? Fighting each other, messing, gossiping, talking about our own sister, brother, doing TikTok challenges, dancing and twerking, making rap video, all the foolish stuff, niggatry, stuff that niggas do.
Yep.
2/3. That's why I say 2/3 of our people gonna be cut off and die. The 2/3 are the one that don't want to hear this message. Holier than thou, same Christian doc, Sunday after Sunday, past 40, 50, 60 years. 90 years old, still sitting up in that seat now, a big basket on her head. Still ain't learned nothing. I'm not being funny. I'm just trying to explain the seriousness of this. We have to come out of religion. Okay, that's why the Bible tells it, okay, he that wanders out the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. Same dead religion, praying to the same false white Christ, okay, that we've been praying to since slavery, and nothing has happened. This is what we're showing you. Now we at the end of the world. You see the prophecies coming to pass, but you're going to wait till the last minute. Eyes to see, but see not, ears to hear, but hear not. Remind me of a vision when the Lord first woke me up and came this truth almost 10 years ago, gave me a clear-cut vision. Clear as I'm talking now. It's like a big ship. He had a pastor at the time, Christian church I was going to. And he's just preaching and singing and hooping and hollering like a lot of them do in the Baptist church. And the people just going crazy. They shouting and dancing. The more he hoop and holler, the more they praising and dancing and shouting. And it's like a submarine or a ship. It had windows on the side. And I could see the water steady rising. And I'm like the only one that's paying attention to this. I see the water coming up to the window. But then I noticed the window is not a window, it's just a hole. While the water from the ocean can just come straight into the ship. The water is pouring into the ship at this point, and it's rising and rising and rising. The preacher, instead of preaching and shouting and dancing and praising and all of this, and so is the people. And I'm sitting here like, wait a minute, don't these people see that the water is coming up to their chest? They still shouting, hooping and hollering, and then the preacher get louder, they get louder. Next thing, it go from their knees to their chest. Now by the time it get right here to their nose, now I see people realize, hey, we drowning, panic, but it was too late. And that's when I woke up, just like that. By the time they realized that the water was over their head to the point to where they was drowning, that's when they realized it was the truth, but they woke up. And when my spirit interpreted that was almost 10 years ago, is that's how 2/3 of our people are today. No matter how much you read them the word straight out the Bible, listen there, you warn them, you show them, you shout, scream at them. Look, the Bible say that precept after precept for whatever reason. And I know the reason. It says it's spiritual blindness. They can't receive it. But they are going to receive it when all of this is about to happen. When they wake up like the Bible say, no food, they're starving, they can't use their money. When all of this happens suddenly, because this is how it's going to hit it one time, then they're going to realize it, but guess what? It's too late. Okay, so whoever's intended for, I pray you get some understanding. Till next time, shalom. Yeah.
If I'ma do this, I'ma give it all I got. The last bullet, all I got is one shot. I'm trying to make it in, so you can see me on top. I'm trying to get my roll on. These demons trying to get my soul on. Edom got me in the hole, Lord, and he ain't trying to let me